Welcome, listeners, to the first rant of the week for the podcast, 5 Ain't Enough. Listeners, and 5 Ain't Enough is a Steeler football podcast brought to you by whatyourtalkingabout.com. Listeners, if you want to check out the show, make sure you check out the website, get involved on the forums and the boards, and get involved in what is the most active Steeler board on the internet and the most active and most knowledgeable Steeler football community. Once again, that's 5 Ain't Enough. Listeners, wanted to briefly break down the Steelers' 2007 schedule, and I also wanted to give you my thoughts on tonight's ball game against the Philadelphia Eagles, one in which Steelers won 27-13. I think when you analyze a football schedule, one of the easiest ways to break down the success that your team may have in an upcoming season is to look at the quality of quarterbacks that your team faces throughout the year. Now, in my conversations in the past with NFL coaches, as well as NFL players and assistants, they will all tell you that the NFL season is broken down into quarters, given the fact that it's a 16-game schedule. And looking at my notes here, when you look at the Steelers' schedule in terms of how it breaks down, in terms of quarters, when you look at the first 4 games, and this is why the first 5 to 6 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers are absolutely critical if they want to make a push for the playoffs. The first 4 quarterbacks that they're going to face, and I looked up and did research and took a look at their passer rating. The first 4 quarterbacks are as follows. Charlie Fry had a 72.0 passer rating. J.P. Lossman, 85.0 passer rating. Alex Smith from the San Francisco 49ers, 74.8. And Matt Leinart had a 74.0. It is critical for the Steelers to win all of those ball games. Anytime a team has the opportunity to go up against quarterbacks with this amount of limited experience, none of these guys has more than 4 years experience, and the most experienced guy is Charlie Fry. For the Steelers to have success this year, they have to win those 4 games. The next 4 quarterbacks they face in their schedule: Matt Hasselbeck, 76.0. Jay Cutler, 68.8. Carson Palmer, 94 or 93.9 passer rating. And Steve McNair at 82.5. Over the next 4 games, that would be 8 games for the Steelers, they play against 3 very good quarterbacks. Don't be fooled by Matt Hasselbeck's low passer rating last year, because Matt Hasselbeck is arguably the best quarterback in the NFC, him and Donovan McNabb. You throw in Carson Palmer, who's arguably top 3, top 5 in the National Football League, and if you're a Steeler fan, you know how Steve McNair has hurt the Steelers in the past. 82.5 is a misnomer for him. He makes big plays against the Steelers. So they're going up against 3 very good quarterbacks in the second quarter of the season. In the third quarter of the season, and actually I may have gotten the numbers off a little bit, it's Fry, Pennington, Green, and Palmer. That's Cleveland, the Jets, Dolphins, and Cincinnati once again. That half or quarter of the season is a little bit easier, but you still go up against veteran quarterbacks in Green, Pennington, and Palmer. No easy task for any football team. Anytime you go up against quarterbacks that have experience and have snaps behind them, it's difficult. In the last 4 games of the schedule, they go up against Tom Brady, Brian Leftwich, Mark Bolger, and Steve McNair once again. That is a murderer's row late in the year. Brady, 87.9. Leftwich, 80. Bolger, 93. McNair, 82.5. Bolger, top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. Tommy, terrific. Top 1 or 2 quarterbacks in the National Football League, talking about Tom Brady. So the Steelers are going to have to play quality football. The last half of their schedule is very difficult, and they face a great complement of quarterbacks this year on their schedule. The average quarterback ranking for the Steelers in their schedule is 81.0. That's very good. That's probably about number 12 if you were to look at the quarterbacks in the National Football League in terms of passer rating. So the Steelers have to play quality football to make the playoffs this year, and they have to solve the question of, can they beat the Baltimore Ravens? Going into tonight's game, a couple things stood out for me, and that's Ben Roethlisberger's fundamentals. When you look at Ben's feet are not fundamentally sound. He throws consistently off his back foot, and he looks antsy in the pocket. in terms of footwork and delivering the football on time and in the right places, I think Charlie Batch does a much better job. Point in fact, bad decision on the pick. He has to improve his decision making, eat a sack, and not try to make a play on every play. But the biggest illustration of the fact of his lack of fundamentals in his footwork was the pass in which he missed against Hines Ward. And Hines Ward would have had a touchdown had he put it on the right shoulder, but he put it on his back shoulder because he threw off his back foot. Once again, also, he has to make better choices. The thing that really stood out to me in the first half is the 2 turnovers. Willie Parker not being able to punch in the end zone, that offensive line not getting adequate push, and him fumbling, and also Ben making a terrible decision and throwing a pick off and the interception. Also, Ben has to be more cognizant in terms of his completion percentage. It must be higher. It must be in the 60 to 65% range. That's what it needs to be.